Welcome to the Altcoin Hour, your weekly alpha. Yeah, we breaking down the charts, flipping bags, playing smart, from the dips to the moon shots, connecting all the dots. Let's get it. Altcoin Hour.
All right. Welcome to the show. Hope you guys are doing very, very well. We have a interesting day. We had some good Bitcoin movement. I know you guys seen that. And then all of a sudden, and I see LMFG was talking about it. Oh, we're back almost down to 90K. So, welcome to the show, guys. Hope you guys are doing good. Hopefully everybody's having a fantastic beginning of January. January is I think it's going to be an very interesting month. We got a lot to look forward to geopolitically. It's crazy. But I digress from that. We may get into a little bit of that because apparently, Venezuela, they moved a lot of Bitcoin across, the way, essentially, just to get it out of the way. We're going to get into a discussion about that. We'll look at a video because apparently they have well over, I think, 57 Bitcoin. I think this is what they had in their coffers, maybe some other crypto too as well. They shipped off some silver to tons of silver. Right, over 1,500 tons, I believe. Some say it went to Russia. Who knows, right? But we're concerned about the BTC. This is what we're concerned about. Is it going to be sold? Did they sell it? I don't know, but we did see a pretty decent reduction in Bitcoin's price. We topped off at 94, I believe. So we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Welcome to the show, guys. Jay says what do you say? 10, yeah, we did get to 10K finally. That progression was very slow. So, hand clap to the members too for being a part of that. And we're going to continue to move on with the channel. We did do some rebranding. So we are Altcoin Media for 2026. And we're going to do some niche down approach to this cryptocurrency thing. We're going to be talking about DeFi, all the good stuff, crypto market news as well every Tuesday. And a lot of the blockchain technology, altcoin sectors and DeFi. We're going to dive deep into that. So LMFG, I see you, brother. BTC 94,000 back to 792. I think we're going to 90. I really do. So we'll talk about that. The link is up top if you guys want to join the show as well and join the discussion essentially. But I have to tell you, it's pretty interesting. We're going to be discussing Ethereum, those new upgrades that are coming up. Glamsterdam. We did get the Fushuka. I think that's how you pronounce the upgrade. Vitalik has some interesting words to say as well. There's an article we'll jump into. And then the Bitcoin liquidity situation. And what's going on with the strategic reserve, because Cynthia Lummis, she came out this weekend and said that the government is selling Bitcoin. The DOJ has sold Bitcoin. They weren't supposed to do it. They actually went against an executive order. We got to get into that because that's very interesting. Defying the president's executive order to not sell harvested Bitcoin, or how should I say, sequestered, taken from devs, legally, right? And I believe the actual wallet was a Samurai Devs wallet that was actually surrendered, and it was sold. So we'll get into that because that was not supposed to happen, and that is Cynthia Lummis is very mad about that. So LMFG, can you hear me, brother? Welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, man.
So how you feeling, brother? You doing okay? We're going to get into this discussion. It's a lot. We'll get into the Bitcoin wallet that was actually, the government selling a little bit of Bitcoin here. What's your take on that? We follow Cynthia Lummis a lot. She's spearheading the strategic reserve movement. She's pissed off, bro. They're not supposed to be selling that Bitcoin.
Yeah, I didn't know they could once the executive order went in. I didn't see that. So, wow. I don't know what to say on that one. He's going to be, like you said, he's going to be pissed.
Yeah, he's already pissed off. He's pissed off about a lot of things. He's got a lot on his table. So, we'll get into the DeFi report too, because the decentralized finance, the TVL across the board, all chains combined, I think we're headed toward $1 trillion. We'll get into the numbers because it's crazy. It's crazy. So let's go ahead and get into the report. So as we move here, and my button always sticks on this. There we go. Let's go ahead and get it. Oh yeah, I didn't add it to the screen. So again, guys, welcome to the show, guys. Bitcoin, 94,000. Let's go ahead and zone in on Bitcoin, and then we'll definitely get it because the ETFs were a big reason why we did push up, guys. Just in case you didn't know, that was the main push up when it comes to this 94,000 situation. Now I'm gonna flip this. I know you guys see this huge sell-off. This just happened. What LMFG about an hour ago? I'm thinking about an hour ago. You just seen this catastrophic sell-off.
It's crazy. I didn't realize that when I see my portfolio went up and down like, I don't know, $3,000, you know. I'm like, what the hell happened? Within not even 24 hours. And then I go, look at Bitcoin and say, oh.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. This is going to be a 4-hour spin out. We're going to spin out a little bit, zoom out a little bit. Now, I got to tell you, starting off in January 2026, beautiful trajectory. Not even in a welcome to the show, Tracy. Welcome to the show. I'm sorry, I got a little tongue tied there. I hope you're having a great day at work. And for those of you who are actually listening at work, I hope you're having a great day, or you're going to listen to the replay, essentially. I hope you're having a great day, right? LMFG. We started off the year running with the horses, right? I mean, thoroughbreds running strongly. We just hit a wall, brother. We just hit a wall. And we're going back, and this is the outlook right here, what you see in the chart. This is the start of the year. January the 1st, right? We are at January the 6th. We started off running, and then we hit a wall. Now, I think a lot of this has to do with geopolitics, LMFG. I think a lot of it has to do with a corrective state, because we saw almost $1 billion worth of ETF inflow within a very short time. I believe this is a corrective sell. I think this is healthy. What you take, I think this is very healthy, what you're saying here. Considering the trajectory, and I know you guys see this.
We'll have to see how far that red candle goes over the next few hours, I guess.
Yeah.
If it stops here, levels out, goes back up to the 95.6 area, then fine. But otherwise, like we've been saying, like I said, don't see it go lower than 80, and everybody's saying 60, and that's scary.
Yeah, that's,
It's just such uncharted waters. Now this thing with Venezuela, now everybody's flipping out. He's going after Colombia. He's going after Iraq, whatever. It's just going. Everybody's going nuts. And then the oil stock's taking off.
Yeah, did you see that? We'll stop by the actual stock market, because it's this is not a great indicator. The stock market will fool you. It's not a good barometer, when it comes to economy, when it comes to ground level activity. It's not very good to use this, and say, hey, just because there's green in the market, which is it's decently green. The Nikkei is actually toppling right now. Mag 7, not looking too good, right? I mean, Chevron Corp. Oh my! Did you see CVX down almost 5%? And we know why that is. Because of what happened in Venezuela. We're going to get into that Venezuelan Bitcoin wallet too. And Jay, we're going to get into who sold that Bitcoin to within the government, because it was authorized. And it went against that direct executive order by Donald Trump to not do so. And that has a lot of congressmen batting their eyes, right? What the hell happened? Why was this Bitcoin sold? You were told not to sell it, right? So it's pretty interesting. You're looking at crude oil. You brought up crude oil because this kind of correlates, guys. WTI, $57, LMFG. Brent oil, $61. I'm going to tell you, I want to get your take on this. The U.S., this price has to be at least $70 for the U.S. to actually turn a profit. WTI is $57, LMFG. Brent oil, $61. We are so far under the $70 mark. What's your take, bro? This is kind of weird.
Yeah, and at the same time, gas is here. I think I might just got gas for like $2.20. So yeah. I don't know what's happening here with that. Not making sense. Because the gas usually, I know it's not crude, but it follows the crude and the Brent, to an extent.
Yeah.
Because those two are pretty much mirrored to each other as well. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here.
Yeah, it's weird.
Everything's crazy, whether it's the crypto, it's the stock. It's like, what the hell do you do? And they're ready to turn this money printer on. I don't know what the hell that's going to do.
Get ready for hyperinflation. Hyperinflation. Now, I don't know how this is going to affect Bitcoin because it takes money to make Bitcoin move, right? So if you fire up the printers, which is exactly what they're about to do, at an extraordinary rate, like we've never seen before, it's going to affect buyership. LMFG, it's just a byproduct of it. It's going to affect the way people spend their money. Not only in the real world, retail is going to suffer as well, but in investment, your investorship, it's going to suffer because people are going to want to pull this money back. It's just not going to go as far as it used to, brother. So we'll see how that goes. And we know that they're going to turn the printers on. This is especially in March when Chairman Powell is out of there. Whoever Trump puts in, they're going to drop these rates. And oh boy, that's when the fun starts.
He'll probably come in and drop a half a point right off the bat. Or three quarters. He'll go nuts and do 3/4.
Oh, listen, you better get you a nice, 5-point seatbelt, nice helmet, collision proof, buckle up. So it's going to be very interesting. There's a lot of different, per se predictions when it comes to Bitcoin. I don't necessarily, as long as the ETFs hold, guys, when it comes to the predictions, when it comes to 2026, going into early 2027, I think these ETFs are going to hold us well above 50. Now, if the bottom falls out of the plan geopolitically, if we don't get the language, which is set for 2027 now, they're saying they have an actual vote on the markup this week or next week, I believe. That's an overdue vote, and that's not going to do anything. It's not going to move the language at all, because you still have opposition when it comes to the regulative factors of decentralized finance, which is booming right now. TVL is off the chain, booming. So currently $91,000, Bitcoin is down 2%, guys, within a 24-hour period. You're looking at a trajectory that was beautiful up until this point when it catastrophically hit a wall. Now, I believe this is a corrective sell event because of the record ETF inflow that we witnessed. There were going to be some selling, some corrective measures, LMFG. I think for us to sell that short, we should have expected this. Now, we will see some more inflow. And by the way, when it comes to centralized exchanges, they bought a ton of Bitcoin within the last week. That's weird to me too, because normally you see a lot of outflow. Crypto.com bought an enormous amount of Bitcoin. Binance, Kraken, all the top ones. Coinbase. And then you have some institutional wallets that bought a ton of Bitcoin. So they're probably looking at this and they're thinking, what the hell? What did I do? You bought at the top. So this is what happens when you buy at the top, LMFG. Sometimes you're a casualty of this Bitcoin war. So we'll see. 91,000 LMFG, you're calling just a 90K flat consolidation. I'm thinking the same thing before we move on to the rest. Actually, I want to move on to this actual wallet that was actually sold because it had Bitcoin, and we're going to get into the Venezuela. Let's go ahead and stick with the Bitcoin mantra because as we move to $92,000, these two things are going to affect Bitcoin big time, especially that Venezuelan wallet, because we don't know if this is going to cascade. Because as I'm reading, a lot of the actual leaders, world leaders, are so pissed off that they're actually thinking about doing the unthinkable just to hurt us. Well, not me and you, but you know what I'm talking about. You know what this leads to. They may sell their Bitcoin. So this is the ongoing mantra. This is what I'm reading. They may collectively put pressure because of our crypto movement, because of the crypto president mantra, because of our movement to actually bundle our treasuries into stablecoins, form these strategic reserves. That's a good way to maim us. And I hope that's not the case. But that's the only way, because militarily we're superior, So this is the way they can really hurt us. LMFG, you may disagree. This is the way they can really, really hurt us. And this is the talk. This is why this Bitcoin wallet that Venezuela has disappeared, essentially, has migrated out of the country. Well, along with the silver, they're trying to find out what's going on with this Bitcoin. I want to get to this I'll get your take on what I said, and then we'll get into this video that talks about this.
Yeah, I actually was not aware of that. All of a sudden, everything's disappearing out of Venezuela.
Out the back door, brother. I mean, you got crypto and Bitcoin is disappearing. Apparently, made its way to Russia, allegedly. Okay. You have silver, over 15 tons, 1,500. Currently is not where it should be. The origin was Venezuela. So, and this doesn't surprise me. Other countries moving their Bitcoin, gathering their Bitcoin. I got to tell you, we're at a time to where everything is so volatile. Something's got to break. Something's got to break, LMFG. I don't know what's going to break, but it's about to. And, it is what it is. I want to get to this actual seized Bitcoin and crypto that the government could see. And here's the thing, LMFG, this is why I want to get to this. The U.S. government wants this crypto. They want this Bitcoin. And I understand why. Because I believe they're about to dump this crypto and this Bitcoin. Let's get into this report.
So there is a second order crypto effect here where since for going back a decade now, my reporting was back in 2017, because of spiraling inflation of the Bolivar, a lot of people had turned to cryptocurrencies, mining Ethereum and Bitcoin in their homes in order to just have a stable source of cash. But the other side of this is the fact that there are multiple reports that the government itself has been looking to evade sanctions by doing sales of oil in Tether, which they then move into Bitcoin. And so much of this market moves on sentiment. So even the promise that perhaps the U.S. government, when they came in, might seize these assets, hold on to it, that's a bull case for Bitcoin if you have a stockpile such as that that isn't being liquidated.
Did you hear what she said about the actual payment that they were actually receiving? They were for the oil. They were receiving payment via Tether, which we always talk about Tether, right? And being very shady. That's one of the, so Tether was being used as payment within a sanctioned situation. That's bad for Tether, right? That's not good. The platform, the actual, coin was used to, in routes of payment for sanctioned oil that was supposed to not be sold, essentially, in a sanctioned arena. So Tether is implicated there. As far as Bitcoin, I don't know, obviously they're not going to touch Bitcoin, but that's not good for Tether. For Tether's case, right? So you have Bitcoin that has been used for payment as well here, not dollars. LMFG, I think that was the problem because you have a lot of de-dollarization that's going on right now. This was big because this was oil. This was a lot of crude that was being sold, and apparently they're still selling it. Massive amounts of tankers are coming in, getting loaded, and leaving. Even after what President Trump has said. He didn't want that to happen. He said not to do it. It was against what has been said. They were ignoring Mr. Trump, and they're still selling this oil, and they're getting payment, and they're receiving payment via Tether and Bitcoin. What's your take, bro? Because see, a lot of this is piled up over the years, and this is that stash that they're talking about that our government wants to seize, because apparently this was illegal transactions. And Tether and Bitcoin were at the bedrock of it. What's your take, bro? 'Cause I thought that was, before we finish this up, I thought that was the very interesting part about this.
Yeah. Where's Justin Sun today? What country is he in right now?
Yeah, he's very quiet, isn't he? He's very quiet right now.
Yeah, and you remember a couple months ago, he went over there. I think he was at Mar-a-Lago or somewhere. He met with Don Jr. and them, and he said they were going to make another stable coin that would be regulated, right?
Yeah. I remember that. I think they got shut down.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know. Let's see what happens.
This is nasty work, bro. This is, and now I see why, the government was so pissed off, and they've been under sanctions for a while. And they've been raking in the dough. And the U.S. wants this Bitcoin. Well, it's tons. I think it's more than 57 BTC. I really do. And as far as other crypto, Tether is the other crypto, because in quotations it said other crypto. It was Tether the entire time. USDT. So that's how they were taking payment. Now, honestly, I have to look into the sanctions. I have to look into the history of this. But the US is like, where's this Bitcoin? Where is this Tether? Where did it go? So they're looking for it. I think it's about to be dumped on the market. I really do.
All right, very interesting stuff. Very quickly, because we got to go. Is it a tailwind for just Bitcoin or also Ethereum, Solana, and some of these other coins?
It's a rising tide lifts all ships. In fact, XRP has had outsized performance. And when you see one altcoin do particularly well, it really is one of these signs of a risk-on environment. All
right, Mackenzie Sagalos, great to see you as always. Thank you.
All right, so we'll wrap that up, and she's really right about that, because a lot of people are like, are the altcoins dead? I don't think altcoins are dead. And we're going to talk about that because they're looking pretty good now. Jay said his net is laggy. Hopefully you can get some better connections, bro. So $92,000. Bitcoin is slowly creeping back up. Hopefully we'll get back up to 94. But LMFG, that's a very interesting situation pertaining to Bitcoin. And there are a lot of world leaders in a lot of countries that are holding Bitcoin, including Russia, China. I don't think Ukraine is going to have an issue. I don't think they're going to sell. They're going to have a problem with Putin real soon. But the Bitcoin wallets, I think they're going to be used as ammo against the US, because how we're positioned in this crypto arena at this point in time. The government is so gung-ho on implementing crypto. Man, it can really hurt us with those sales. It can benefit them, but they can really, really hurt the price of Bitcoin, which would kind of set us back when it comes to strategic reserve notions. And not only that, you have the DOJ that is selling Bitcoin totally against Trump's executive order. Let's get to this, because this is weird. Now, what we have here is let me read this title, LMFG. You said you guys didn't know about this. Let's get into this. Did the DOJ prosecutor or prosecutors, the group, violate Trump's executive order by selling the forfeited Samurai wallet Bitcoin? Now, it seems that the U.S. Marshals Service, at the direction of the Department of Justice, which is very interesting, used Coinbase Prime to liquidate the Bitcoin that the Samurai developers forfeited as a part of their plea deal, likely violating President Trump's mandate to keep such Bitcoin in the United States Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. And that is per Cynthia Loomis. She has championed, she has spearheaded that movement. She is so mad right now, guys. She is pissed. She's on a warpath to figure out why in the hell they sold this against the Trump's executive order, because it was a part of the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. Now, I will tell you this before we get involved with this. If we can't maintain a reserve, if there's so much disarray, so much miscommunication here, so much vitriol towards the president, and I think it's kind of weird that this happened after he moved into Venezuela. Before we get into this, LMFG, this is a problem. This is a big problem for Trump. And we're talking about the DOJ at the direction of the Department of Justice, bro. What's going on? What do you think is going on here?
Yeah, I don't know if they, whoever pulled that trigger, maybe they talked to him and he said, all right. And, but I would think it would have to be something written again, no? I'm not sure. It just doesn't make any sense.
They're trying to figure it out. Everybody's really, really hush-hush about this, except for Cynthia Loomis, and she should be livid because she's been spearheading this whole entire movement, you know, getting it done. She's been screaming about the crypto legislation. Get it done. They're not getting it done. It's crazy. So what the hell happened? This is the thing. What the hell happened? Let's get into this now. In doing so, you have these wallet developers. I don't know if you guys remember the case. Big case. Right. A little privacy protocol embedded here as well. It seems that the U.S. Marshal Service has sold $6.3 million worth of Bitcoin that the Samurai wallet developers, Kenan Rodriguez and William Lonergan Hill, paid the U.S. Department of Justice as a fee that was part of their guilty plea. So this was an actual paid fee or a fine, essentially, that they paid as they pled guilty to the ongoings within the case. Let's continue. In doing so, it was potentially a violation of the executive order 14233, just in case you guys want to check it out, which mandates the Bitcoin acquired via criminal or civil asset forfeiture proceedings should be held as a part of the United States Strategic or Strategy Bitcoin Reserve, SBR. So it was forbidden for them to do this.
Well, hold on, not with the language, because it's saying for forfeiture of, you know what I'm saying? And what you just said, they paid the 6.3 as a fee. They probably forfeited other amounts, I would think, that were confiscated from them. So there's your wording right there. So let's see, somebody just screwing with Trump.
See, this is why I wanted to get into it.
And I just said even peas.
Dude, that's jacked up. See, that's why I wanted to get into it, because I love you picked up on it. There's some legalese jousting here. There's some gymnastics going on with the legalese. You're exactly right. And this happens a lot in law, in court, especially when these are high profile court cases. You have these smart lawyers. They go into these case studies and they look at this legalese and they do legal gymnastics in order to go through these loopholes. So, this is what happened. They literally went through a loophole. Whoever wrote the executive order left these holes in it. And it just takes the terminology. It just takes just a flip of the terminology or the terms.
That's the problem with our legal system. There's a problem with our legal system, I think. It gets ridiculous, and that's why everybody's like screaming at Bondi right now. Well, you didn't take anybody to court. Yeah, they're building it for years and years, because if you have one little loophole and you go to court, you lose. You're done. Yep. Just because wording or something that was said, it gets ridiculous, if you ask me. Go read the terms and conditions for anything. It's 500 pages. Nobody reads it. You just say, I accept the terms and conditions, right?
You just sign it, yeah. You click, you scroll all the way down, you click the OK button, you get the hell out.
And guess what? Anything, you will be on the losing side if anything goes wrong.
Yeah, I tell everybody about your banking contract. You better read it. If you guys ever just, get some time, get some coffee, take some time off, and pull your banking contract with your favorite institution. Read it. It'll scare your pants off. It'll make you want to move.
Every time we bought a large piece of equipment, whether it was $100,000 or a couple $1 million, it didn't matter. It was a nightmare. Even just contracts, we would, go for like 2 years. We try to get our own tariffs rolling and discounts, back and forth with the legal system, just ridiculous. Our legal system say, no, red mark the whole thing. I give it back to either the carrier or the manufacturer. They send it back with, oh, no, we'll do this and we'll reword this. And instead of changing it, then it's amendments. And then even the amendments, my legal team would say, no, that's no good. I go back, send it to the vendor. It's just a joke. Crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy. And it's meant to be crazy. It's meant to be very confusing. Because they know, the layman, the normal folk, as we say down in the South, they're not going to read that shit. They're just going to sign on a dotted line, right? And this is what happened. You're absolutely correct. This is what happens. Now, what is Trump? Trump's the type of guy, he doesn't take this very well. You make him look stupid. You make him look infantile in front of the whole world. You better look out. This guy does not like to look like an idiot. He doesn't take it very well. So whoever did this, the DOJ, they better watch out. They could possibly be fired. He could possibly go through there with the hatchet. I don't know. We'll see. And your other theory is he actually okayed this. He actually said, do it. That's the other flip of the coin. This is what you're saying, regardless of the legal gymnastics here.
Right. Possible.
Okay.
Because I would, I'd be afraid, unless it's somebody that says the DOJ had that authority and they don't like Trump and they figure, let me put a little a jab in his belly or something, and then be expected to get fired and not worry about it. Who knows?
This is a good way to get fired.
Yeah.
This is a great way to get fired. Great way. It's crazy, man. So I said, there's more too. In the Southern District of New York, we're talking about the Samurai case. The case was tried, did in fact violate. Now, here's the thing. This is what they're saying. This is exactly what they're saying. Had a little feedback there. I hope you guys are still there. If the Southern District of the New York Federal Judiciary District, all right, the Federal Judiciary District in which the Samurai case was tried, did in fact violate Executive Order 14233. This is what we're talking about. It would not be the first time employees of the actual district here have acted in defiance of direction from the federal government. So they have a history of defiance, essentially. Now, according to the documents titled Asset Liquidation Agreement, this is the actual legalese here that was filed, which has been obtained exclusively by Bitcoin Magazine and has not until now been made public. The Bitcoin that Rodriguez and Hill forfeited was and is to be sold, or already has been sold. So there was a legal agreement that already said they were going to do this, bro. So this pre-existed, or this was like pre-executive order LMFG. Very interesting. So what do you think?
Right. Yeah, maybe cover somebody else for pissing Trump off and selling it. And well, it didn't say it beforehand. It wasn't the law beforehand. I don't know.
This is messy. It looks bad.
Hey, you know, Trump, we'll know about it probably by the end of the day. It'll be on Truth Social.
Yeah, you got all the signatures and everything. This is crazy. This is crazy. So as per the document, the defendants agreed to transfer 6.3 million worth of Bitcoin, which is, roughly 57 BTC coins. At the time, the final party signed the agreement, which was an assistant United States attorney, Cecilia Vogond, November 3rd, 2025. This was last year, pretty recently. Not, just a couple of months ago, about two and a half months ago. The Bitcoin, which was sent from an address, they have the address here, just in case you guys want to do some detective work. I may put it in the comment section. On the 3rd of November of last year, seems to have bypassed any direct custody by the USMS. Instead, it seemed to have been sent directly to Coinbase Prime. Interesting. And you can see this on Arkham Intelligence too as well. This was already set to be sold, right? Now, the Coinbase Prime address currently had a zero balance, indicating that the Bitcoin may have already been sold. So it is so. We already know it's gone. All right. So this bypassed regulatory measures. It didn't go where it was supposed to go to be custodied. This money went straight from the strategic reserve capsule, if you will, straight to Coinbase Prime. Bypassed all of the regulatory measures that were set. Per Cynthia Loomis, this is what she said. This is how, there's a structure here to where this Bitcoin, this sequester, this seized Bitcoin, supposed to go through these particular routes, checks and balances. That way it can be actually secured. This actually went around all that. And LMFG, you brought up the fact that the legalese here, this was a fee paid, kind of like what CZ did, because CZ wanted the money back. Binance wanted the money back recently that they paid the government. No, you can't have that back. That was a fee. That was a fine. You can't have that back, Binance. Now, obviously, CZ said that they didn't request the money back, but I digress from that. LMFG, this doesn't look like what it seems. And I think Cynthia Loomis may have misunderstood, or maybe she was not aware of the legalese that was set up prior to the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, aspect of this. This is the way I see it. So it doesn't look like what they're talking about. This is actually not an aggressive violation of this executive order. This is the way I take it. What's your in conclusion of this?
Yeah. By seeing that document, by all means, it was signed by November 3rd. I don't know when he signed the executive order. I'm only assuming afterwards. I don't know. We'll see. Rock and roll. Hey, do they have to pay taxes on that?
Well,
they waited until after the first of the year.
These are special circumstances. Zero capital gains.
Wow,
Well, they should. They expect us to pay, right?
Right. What the hell?
This is an interesting line, and then we'll move on. It says, Kenan Rodriguez and William They both authorized the USMC to receive the Bitcoin account and immediately liquidate it in a manner dictated by the USMC. So however they wanted to liquidate it, they gave them access, and they actually told them they could do it. This is a signed document. Okay. So the actual defendants said, hey, we're going to send you this money and we give you the authorization to liquidate it however you please. Now, the two devs understood that liquidating the Bitcoin, the exchange used by the USMS will assess a fee that will be paid directly from the proceeds of the liquidation. They agreed to pay the fee. So the defendants actually were okay with this. And obviously, of course they were, because they received a lighter sentence, right? So there's more to it. There's more to it, guys, than what's being reported on X. This is actually not a violation of the order, but everybody's reporting it as. Once you really look into it, this particular agreement was in existence way before the executive order. Now, that's just the way I see it here now. We'll see how this plays out. And just the fact that they went completely around the USMS on this and went straight to Coinbase Prime, it makes sense. This was already agreed upon. The dev said you can do it. You can liquidate the situation. You can do it however you please, however you want to do it, however you want to route it, and we'll pay the fee. This is a plea deal. In LMFG, these type of weird things happen in court, especially when the defendant's pleading. You're trying to get a plea deal, you're working a pro bono, or you got a pretty good lawyer team. These plea agreements they get weird. They have different, conditions and things of that nature. So when you're in a position to where you're going to be sent to jail for a long time, you're going to agree to whatever, just to shorten that sentence or maybe even get off. So, and I think these guys got off pretty light because they were money laundering. It was a really, really nasty case. Now, if the USMS has sold or forfeited the Bitcoin, it likely contravened the actual executive order 14233, which ordered the Bitcoin acquired by the US government via criminal forfeiture, termed government BTC, and the EO shall not be sold and should not be contributed as well to any other fund or for that matter. If the USMC sold the Bitcoin, they did so at their own discretion and not as a legal mandate, which indicates that certain members of the DOJ may still view Bitcoin as a taboo. This is very interesting. So this is going directly against the president and the actual notion of the crypto movement and the government embracing crypto. The LMFG is very telling. There's a split. There's a fracture here. I don't think the entire government is on board with the crypto movement, because the more I read this, the more I see fractures and fissures. This is not a unified movement. There's division here. The majority, and this thing basically points out the DOJ, they still view Bitcoin as a taboo asset, like a lot of people still do. And this is probably why we don't have language. This is probably why we have a stalemate when it comes to the actual crypto market structure bill. This is why the Clarity Act has not moved an inch. This is an issue, LMFG. There's some fractures here. There's no unified movement when it comes to cryptocurrency like we thought. What we hear and see on social media and what's actually going on in these rooms, totally different. I'm not seeing a unified movement as I move through this article. What's your take?
Yeah, there's still a lot of split there. And I think a lot of that, it could be the banks getting to certain people and back and forth. And it could be just their visions and thoughts of it, just from what they know. The lack of education on the congressmen and the senators, I think, is real bad with this. And education is not something simple. You can't just pick up and say, okay, yeah, I know about crypto. Hell, it took me 40 hours reading, and another 10 hours looking up stuff on Google. And it's a shame, and so you do have all that split in there. And I don't know. We'll see, man. Like you said, but one thing I got to correct you on, you said the Clarity Act didn't move an inch. No, it moved a couple feet, but backwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got a dozen amendments on it already.
Yeah. Genius Act too. The Genius Act is moving backwards too.
Amendments are piling up. It's like, what the hell? I don't get it. I think, for one, again, I think the congressmen and senators, they don't have the education, and they're not trusting what they're being told. So
Either way, this is very bearish.
We need Hoskinson and Garland House and Armstrong and these guys. They should be on like a committee or something at Congress, and they should have classes, the whole 9 yards. I mean, these are all lawyers. They all understand banking.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Or there you go. Because Bitcoin is for the people. You know what I mean? Crypto is for the people. Yeah. They know. And then I think a lot of the politicians are realizing that, hey, the people are going to be able to track everything that we spend. You know, it's a two-way. It's going to become a two-way street. Right now, it's a one-way street. For us to try to figure out what they're spending money on, go ahead, have a nice time. Ask Nick Shirley how long it took him, and I guarantee he didn't even do it. That was the old guy, the guy Dave something, right? That did all that digging, and he was digging for years. So, I would just want to see get going.
It's a nasty game, very nasty game. I don't see it as a violation. I think this is a pre-existing situation before the order that was actually implemented and put into fruition. Let me read this last part, and then we'll get in, because this kind of brings in Gary Gensler, which is very interesting. Given that the samurai prosecution originated under the previous administration, and we're talking Gary Gensler as well in Biden administration, choke point 2.0, all that good shit, which was notoriously hostile towards non-custodial crypto tools and their developers, i.e. Tornado Cash. The decision to ignore Executive Order 14233 and sell the Bitcoin entirely, despite a mandate from the executive branch, fits the pattern of treating Bitcoin as something that should be removed. I repeat, removed from government balance sheets as soon as possible. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's not all good. You have a definite split within our government when it comes to the actual embracing of Bitcoin versus excommunicating it, essentially. There's a split. So there's no harmony here, like we've been told. There's no beautifulness when it comes to the embracement of not only Bitcoin, but cryptocurrency. And I'm talking within the government, within the law creating infrastructure of the government, which is very important. We have the DOJ clearly against the notion, as we see here. Congressmen clearly, like Elizabeth Warren, Thune, these guys are totally against Bitcoin, totally against DeFi. But then you have this other half, and I think it's dwindling, that are for it. And then you have the commander in chief that is completely on board, made tons of money in the meme sector. By the way, Molina has an actual token unlock coming up today. Over $4 million worth of Molina tokens going to be dumped. Watch out. World Liberty Finance, the Trump bros are heavily involved. There's some conflictions there, but I digress from that. But God bless him. He's a risk taker. He's a capitalist, right? This is what Donald Trump does. So I'm not shocked, but the fracture, the actual divide is very interesting to me when it comes to the government, when it comes to this has really exposed a lot for me. Because if you really look at the X post, you read things on X, you think everything is good. You see Paul Atkins tweeting, oh, we got legislation, we're doing great. Trump, we're going to be the epicenter of cryptocurrency activity. I have to tell you, from reading this, and I did do a backstory on this too as well, it's not what we think it is. There's a major fracture here, guys. And, we're just going to have to ride this out, because not all is good within the actual infrastructure of this crypto movement when it comes to our government. They're all for wrapping treasuries into stablecoin activity. But when it comes to not only the decentralized finance, the technology, but the actual sequestering and the usage of Bitcoin being a strategic ally. We see here that a lot of people do not like Bitcoin. And it's not just Elizabeth Warren, LMFG. We're talking a pretty good amount of the DOJ. They despise it. They think of it. They still think of it as a taboo asset. Clearly states it here. And they want to just sell it, bro. They just want to convert it into fiat. So Trump has his work out, not only geopolitically, but internally. There's going to be a struggle here going forward. We already see the banks are lobbying. They're pushing hard to reconstruct decentralized finance as we know it today. We're about to look at DeFi because those numbers are crazy. And the banks are looking at, we're going to look at TVL when it comes to DeFi across the board. They're livid. They want that 7 to 8% on average yield. They don't want us to have that. They want it. They want to give us peanuts. 1%, 0.5%, 2%. They don't want us to have 7 to 8%. They don't want us to have access to self-custody. They want it all on a centralized rail so they can actually oversee it. I'm not for that. LMFG, I don't think you're for that. I don't think you would enjoy that type of intervention.
No, it totally defeats the purpose of and the whole my vision from 5 years ago reading about this stuff. Saying goodbye. I said goodbye banks. Mm-hmm. Pay for the people start getting anywhere from 4 to 8% interest. And if you wanted to get into loaning and borrowing, you can make as much as 12% interest, or give out a loan 12% and take a loan at 8%. I mean, on and on what this could do to decentralized finance is just off the wall.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
They're going to try to screw this up. I didn't see them being able to get anywhere with screwing this up this bad.
Yeah, I totally agree. Benji, welcome to the show, brother. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you, bro. It says, Paul is away in a Pure Wallet presale ended X Space with updates in 2 days. Okay. Yeah, I like the Pure Wallet. I really like that Pure Wallet. Absolutely love that Pure Wallet. It's a great way to move off chain. It's probably the only wallet you can actually move crypto assets off chain, peer to peer. Pretty cool. And the can't wait to see what that Paul, the new Paul wallet, that UI. Can't wait to see that. What the guys are working on. Cannot wait to see the new UI, the new colors. Possibly you may see a new logo with the Paul chain. We'll see. Quantum resistance. Yeah, it's going to be cool. Looking forward to that. Jay says $150,000 Bitcoin, potentially. LMFG. This year, Jay is saying, 2026, 2027 might be below 40K. Ouch. So 40K is your low, Jay. 150 is going to be your ceiling. And you're calling this between 2026, 2027. I believe I think we did some predictions last week, and that's pretty much the average where you're at, Jay. This is the consensus here. 150 as a top, 40K as a low, which would be completely ridiculous. And I think it would scare the crap out of everybody if Bitcoin went to 40K. But I see it as a buying opportunity, most definitely, at 40K. Not Bitcoin, but the market, because can you imagine what altcoins are going to be if Bitcoin goes to 40K? The altcoin sector will plummet. And that's when the sharks come out. That's when my fins are going to get very, very active. There's going to be a lot of blood in the water. When you say LMFG, lots of blood at 40K.
Yeah, that would be tremendous. I could see a lot of my buddies that I help would tell me, just sell everything, get me out. Because they're just so disgusted with trying to deal with this stuff. I got a remote control into so many people's machines, and I try to teach, but they don't have the effort. They don't want to put the time into it, And it's just, they would probably tell me, just dump everything for them.
Yeah, I think, you hold, your DCA when your conviction plays, because a lot of these blockchains, they're going to do very well. And it doesn't matter what Bitcoin does. I repeat, it's not going to matter what Bitcoin does, especially when the altcoin ETFs are approved. The alts are going to move on their own. Right now, they're dependent on Bitcoin's dominance. You know how it sways back and forth. It's not going to matter when these altcoin ETFs actually get going. But that's the stalemate. We need this language. All these altcoins are going to be in these baskets are going to be stakeable. XRP, I think I forgot which one, but an XRP basket just went live, and it's stakeable. It's a stakeable ETF. That's huge. That is huge.
No, that's not Flare. Yeah, I didn't see.
Yeah, no, it's not Flare. I forgot which fund, but it was. I think it was the first one actually. I went for XRP. You can stake it in an ETF vehicle. You don't have to go to DeFi to do it, right? You can do it in your ETF vehicle. I'm not sure the APY, but I think going forward, you're gonna have HBAR, ICP. You're gonna have Cardano, if it still exists. I don't know. That midnight fracture is crazy, bro. But I digress from that. Charles Hoskinson, he has his work cut out for him to mend the situation and bring the community back. But, ADA, you have Sonic, you have all the top 15, top 20, AVAX, all of them. They're going to be stakeable ETFs. That's that vehicle that's going to move these odds in a totally different way. We got to get through all this geopolitics and all this crypto bullshit when it comes to Congress. Pass the law, pass the language. Hopefully it's DeFi friendly. But once these alts start moving in these ETFs, there's going to be a whole different level of locking up of altcoins. We have some locks now, but when it comes to locking them up in these ETF and these stakeable ETFs, that's a different dynamic that we've never seen before. That's going to allow these alts to set new floors. If you understand what I'm saying, you're going to see new all-time highs in altcoins that are legit, not the bullshit ones. I'm talking about the legit altcoins with substance, with usability, right? With real use case. RWA, tethered payment altcoins, altcoin infrastructures, perpetual exchange altcoins like Hyper and Aster. Those are going to be stakeable ETFs real soon. That's going to increase the lock value of these tokens. It's going to put a squeeze on a lot of these altcoin supplies. And then you're going to see new all-time highs in these alts. And then the necessary inherited use cases of these altcoins, that's going to provide a whole new buffer. So it's very important for you to stay in touch with, the specific sectors like decentralized AI, like DePIN, right? These are the sectors that you have to look into and watch these tokens and coins because they're going to be ETFs real soon. These are the ones that are going to, and it's not going to depend on Bitcoin at that point in time. Bitcoin is going to be doing its own thing. And I believe Bitcoin is going to get to 200K, but not anytime soon. We have a lot of work to do, not only within Congress, but within the infrastructure. Because as I just read to you, as we know now, there's a fissure, there's fissures and fractures. There's a huge divide when it comes to the acceptance of Bitcoin and crypto versus the non-acceptance. That still exists, even under Trump. So it never went away, LMFG. That threat never went away. There's still fractures. Everybody blamed it on Gary Gensler. Nah, it wasn't his fault. This was pre-existing. Bitcoin is still labeled as taboo. We just read that. And we're talking DOJ that's trying to get it out of there, trying to sell it and liquidate it under the watch of the crypto president. So it's going to be interesting to see how this folds. Now, as far as crypto ETFs, I told you that is the floor. $1 billion within the last 30 days. So this is real. Can you imagine this type of inflow, when it comes to the altcoin ETFs? This is the type of inflow you're going to get with these particular altcoins. It's just going to ramp up. It's going to snowball into millions and billions of dollars of inflow. Already compiled onto what you already see with these individual use cases when it comes to the altcoins. So we have a lot to look forward to. We're currently sitting at 3.16 trillion globally. This is going to continue to happen until we get clarity. Number one, altcoin ETFs fully deployed, use cases on the road and running, and global acceptance. Those three matter wholeheartedly. What do you say, LMFG? Do you agree with me? We still got a long ways.
Yeah, we still got time. It sucks. I didn't expect this. I really did. I actually thought these acts were going to get done under Biden, and then especially as soon as Trump got in. And here we are, a year and a half, almost. We're going to be pushing 2 years later that these things were put on the table, and still not through, except for the Genius Act, and that's like we said, that there's so many amendments piling up on that thing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's got the banks written all over it. It's really the banks. You exclude the banks, and we got language. We already have it. Clarity Act was passed, last November it would have been passed. Would have had crypto market structure bill, already passed, already law, if it wasn't for the banks. And I totally get it. They're on the life support, you know? If this language is already passed, the banks would be collapsing right now. And we'll be okay because there would be a place for us to actually, or be a life raft. And it'd be cryptocurrency, it'd be blockchain, it'd be DeFi. We could just jump right into that. They don't want that. This is why they're just shelling out so much money into these crooked congressmen to stop the movement of the crypto movement. Stop the movement of DeFi into the real world, merging into real world activity, being readily available to the normies. And they're going to love it. I talked to my neighbors about it. And the guys that I work with, they love the fact that they can double their APY in their savings. They love getting more than 2%, 1%. They can't wait, but they don't know how. And they're scared to death to touch DeFi because they don't understand it. So it is what it is. It is what it is. I want to turn your attention to this. I don't know if you saw this, bro, but you have a bulletin, Bitcoin Core Bulletin. Now, this is a wallet issue. Now, if you have an old Bitcoin wallet, let's just say you're an OG and you got an old wallet, you're trying to upgrade. You're trying to move your old BTC that you haven't touched, dust it off and move it to a new situation, more updated. Don't do it. There's a massive warning out telling people to do not move your old Bitcoin and migrate it into the new situation. They're working on a workaround for this, but something went horribly wrong. Now I'm going to read this bulletin. Wallet migration bug present in Bitcoin Core Wallet 3.0.0 and 3.0.1. This is a major alert. Under rare circumstances, migrating a legacy BDP wallet can delete all wallet files on the same node. If those wallets aren't backed up, this can result in the loss of all your Bitcoin. This is nasty. A fix will become available in the Bitcoin Core 30.2 upgrade. Until that is released, do not migrate legacy wallets using 30.0 or 30.1. Only the legacy wallet migration process is affected. All other uses are unaffected, as they note today. You can continue using Bitcoin Core normally, including existing wallets and running a node without wallets. So LMFG, this is a big deal, bro. Now, apparently a lot of Bitcoin has already been lost. A lot of people are like, yeah, it's cool. It's lost. That's good. It's not good for the OGers that have lost their wallet. So this is actually a discovered, by someone who lost a considerable amount of Bitcoin. So, what you take, bro? We still have these issues with the antiquated system that we know as Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's ugly, but I don't know how many people use that wallet. That's because that's like an original, right? Way back when.
Yep, you got a lot of people that are still holding Bitcoin in this wallet, unfortunately, because they're OGers. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And what if somebody doesn't read this? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they're seeing these price movements and this volatility. Let's say you woke up and you're like, okay, I got about 1,000 BTC. I've been accumulating since the early days. Let's go ahead and move this to a safe place. You can potentially lose it all if you didn't get this bulletin. So it's very, that's a very scary situation, big time.
And I don't know about you, but I'm getting flooded with stuff from MetaMask, from Trezor, from Ledger. I don't even have a Ledger. Like, oh, you got to do this. Oh, this upgrade. Click here. I feel sorry for the people that click on them emails.
Yeah, you got a Ledger situation too as well. But it's not a wallet issue.
Right, I saw that personal info.
It's not, it's a third. We did have a Ledger wallet issue before with private keys, and this is another third-party situation. I'm pretty close to steering people away from Ledger because the third-party situation is crazy with Ledger. Then you have an ID situation, all your information that you use to sign up when you were doing your Ledger your phone number, email address, God forbid your actual physical address. I don't think they needed that, but a lot of personal information, that particular situation was hacked. So if you are a user of Ledger, and if you do, and obviously you got to use these third parties, you might ought to check your credit. You might ought to do a identity lock, a federal identity lock on your actual information, social security number lock, all that good stuff, because these are the times to where the scams are going to be crazy. And then when you think about what's going on in Venezuela, you think about the government's actions militarily. We have a target on our back, guys, and they will not necessarily be able to defeat us, militarily, but they can hack our banks. They can hack our identities. They can attack us, backdoor us, just to increase the pain on a financial basis. This is going to be a heightened situation. So, mind you, always be careful with your ID. Change your passwords. Do some, refresh your authenticator, refresh your 2FA, right? Make sure your phone is not cloned or SIM swapped. Do all these necessary precautions so you won't get caught up in all this cyber attacks that we're about to basically experience, because it's going to be crazy going into 2026. We're going to be cyber hacked like crazy. They're going to attack us cyber wise. Do you believe that? I mean, because honestly, LMFG, that's the only way they can really hurt us. They can't really do it militarily. At least that's what they're saying. My own personal, thoughts on that is, I'm not too sure about that. But when it comes to cyber hacking, this is what they're great at. You see a lot of bank hacks within the last 2 weeks. Lots of major banks have been hacked. You have this Ledger situation. This just happened too. Since the Venezuelan conflict, there have been a lot of cyber attacks on America, on America's banking infrastructure, these third-party ID holders, data centers, and things of that nature. LMFG, I think it's just going to get worse.
Yeah, and that's ugly. And this is, like you said, with the Ledger, that was one of the reasons why I stayed away from the Ledger, because in order to add coins, you have to add apps. It's all about apps with that Ledger, right?
Yeah, you're right. A lot of third-party activity. Yeah.
And so that was the reason why I stayed away from it. I went to the Trezor instead. And still, the trust out there, and I'm telling you, it's been like this forever. I told you years ago, right? We had an office in Texas. We were riding the back of AIG circuits, and it was cost us like $2,000 a month for a small 56K circuit from New York to Texas. Yeah. And we had connectivity into AIG's data center, and they also had access to Texas, and we just rode the back for a couple of years, and they had no clue. And I told my buddy Brian,
that's crazy.
The guy on the network, I was like, he goes, I see all their servers. I got to call them. I said, wait, don't call them. I said, hide ours, and blocked this from the guys. And he did. Yeah. So he made it. I forget what he did, subnet. I don't know the intricacies of the routers, but none of the guys could see all the AIG stuff. And we just sat there riding it for a couple of years. And all of a sudden, hey, the Texas circuit with the Texas office went offline. It took me like 40 days to get them back online to get a new circuit. And we had to get our own.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's very sensitive. There's a lot of...
but people didn't understand the routers and stuff. That's why when we would build out a place, I told the guys, shut every port off. What are you, crazy? The routers have 100,000 ports. Shut them all off and only open the ports that you need to connect to. Now you're only monitoring those ports with virus and, looking for fraud and stuff, looking for bad packets, somebody trying to get in there. And it's a nightmare for the router guys, but to me, it was the smart way to go about it.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
And the technology today, I retired in 2008, so the technology today is probably, who knows, tenfold easier, I would think. I'm not sure.
Well, we got some breaking news. A couple of pieces here. A lot of defiance. Lots of defiance here. It's something very interesting just came up with Trump, and we're going to get into it. Check this out, guys. I want you to listen to this. I can't believe he said this.
Win the midterms, because if we don't win the midterms, it's just going to be, I mean, they'll find a reason to impeach me.
I'm going to run this back because we were talking about this earlier. I was in an actual forum, and the impeachment situation came up. And now, I don't know if Trump was in that forum, but he's actually speaking of this and how important the midterms are. And I think the midterms are important for crypto legislation movement as well, because that majority is very key. Now, we do have these fractures within the DOJ, but when it comes to the, Trump has a lot of support for the crypto movement, for the language. As far as Bitcoin, not so much, especially with it being part of a reserve. Okay. This is it. Listen to what he's saying.
Got to win the midterms, because if we don't win the midterms, it's just going to be, I mean, they'll find a reason to impeach me. I'll get impeached.
LMFG, he sounds deflated. He sounds a bit deflated. What's going on, bro? I feel like this crypto movement is slipping away. What's going on?
Yeah, I'd say for one, he's looking tired. I don't know. I guess he's afraid of, and I've said it for over 2 years now. I said, I believe he'll get in, but the most important voting day of I think in our history is going to be this November 3rd, 2026. And I was saying that a year ago. Because 100%, if the House and the Senate becomes Democrat, immediately there'll be impeachment articles going against them. I see that coming 100%.
Yeah. I mean, you got a lot of people wanting this too, bro.
November 3rd, yeah.
So many people look at this right, and these memes are crazy. This is what I'm saying here. Please, God, let this happen, because it would be so freaking funny. Not too funny. Not too funny. I don't think it'd be funny. Right. Oh, man. There's a lot of people that are for this, man. And I think there's a lot riding on this. By the way, gold has surpassed US dollar to become the world's largest global reserve asset. And I think, and I want to put this up because this is what a lot of people in the DOJ and a lot of people that are against Bitcoin being a strategic reserve element, they would rather see this as the principal element. And I tend to agree. What's your take?
Look how it went to hell since 1970.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing pretty good. The dollar was pretty strong. It came out and because everything was back on gold. And then they made gold illegal, right? Remember, you had to hand your gold in. It was illegal to even hold it. So that's what screwed this all up. Who was that, Nixon? Yeah,
it was Nixon. He had it. There was a different rule. This is an interesting thing about this. So during the confiscation, they had one of the congressmen was a big collector of gold. He loved gold as a collectible. He didn't want to lose that. So he put a provision in the confiscation law that stated that if you held gold as a collectible and it had to be packaged, it had to be, certain, different certificates that provided authentication.
Commemorative coins.
Right, commemorative coins. That was excluded. And that only was added because of that congressman, this rich dude that had collectible gold. That was his way of keeping his gold. And that helped a lot of people retain their gold because they converted it or they kind of had it smelted into collectible forms. I thought that was very interesting. And this is how congressmen can actually write laws to their advantage. This is the disadvantage, obviously, because a lot of people that didn't have collectible gold, they had solid pieces and nuggets and things of that nature. It was confiscated. So it's a very interesting story when you dig into the history of a confiscation. And some say that may happen with Bitcoin. The whole confiscation situation that happened back in the day with gold could possibly, and this is a lot of people are saying this, I don't believe it, but this could actually, that history could be repeated under dire circumstances, right? Can you imagine there's a Bitcoin confiscation law created and we would have to forfeit, everybody that had Bitcoin would have to forfeit their Bitcoin? That would be crazy.
Oh, they would definitely get the price down to 20 grand before that happens.
That would be crazy. There's a lot of people that are thinking this is going to happen. Jesus, that would be crazy. So, this is what's going on, guys. I don't see any, as far as the market, and we'll get back to this right quick. Bitcoin 92,000, Ethereum 3,200, up 8% for the 7-day period. ETH is doing great. ETH has a very, very magnificent upgrade that's coming up called Glamsterdam. Now, I wanted to get into that, but it's very, very technical. I'm gonna do a standalone video, and I'm gonna drop that about the actual predictions of 2026 and beyond when it comes to Ethereum, because it's pretty bullish. The Fasuska upgrade was a success. L2s are beaming, and now this Glamsterdam, once they get Glamsterdam implemented, ETH is going to be a monster. And I don't know what happens to the L2s after that, because they're really not going to need L2s after that. So, you know, and I'm the only one saying that, but if you look up the Glamsterdam, look at what's going on there, and I'll make a video about it. Pretty extraordinary. What's about to happen to Ethereum? Does it get to 12K? Does it get to 60K? Not anytime soon. But I have to tell you, guys, once all of this is completed, once ETH is fully upgraded, it's not going to have a problem reaching 10K. No question. No question. Tether, we talked about Tether. Tether is in big trouble. They've been implicated, and they've been used as pavement for oil for the past 10 years when it comes to Venezuela. They just found that out. Tether has been used as an exchange of medium, a payment along with Bitcoin, but that's not the concern. Tether is the concern. I think they got Tether by the balls. They got them by the balls. Those devs are in big trouble. XRP, $2.23, up 18%. That ETF is doing absolutely fantastic. BNB now, BNB is actually getting really close to $1,000. So that altcoin is doing very, very well. It's getting back up there, LMFG. Solana, 137. Solana, trying to get back to $150. Tron, 29 cents. We were talking about Justin's son earlier. Where in the world is Justin's son? Dogecoin, 14 cents, up 18%. Within the 7-day period. All of these ones that I've mentioned are actually down within the 24-hour period, with Dogecoin and Bitcoin Cash taking the hardest hit. Cardano, 40 cents. We'll see what happens there. Hyperliquid, huge perpetual exchange. Made a lot of money last year, as the rest of the perpetuals. Up across the board, up 1% within the last day. That thing is going to get back to $50, guys. Be looking into that. Because these perpetual exchanges, they made a lot of money. They exceeded Pump.Fun at the end of the day in the fourth quarter when it all came out, when all the math was done. These perpetual exchanges took the win. Going forward, stablecoins, perpetual, activity. That's where it's at. Payments, RWA, finality, platforms like Undo, Monads infrastructure. This is where it's going.
The volume on Monad is
it's crazy.
I'm looking at it. I was like, what the hell? And then I sent the email out to everybody. I said, yeah, can you say Coinbase?
Well, we need to stake. We need to enable staking for Monad. I've already sent a message, a request. So we'll see. We'll see. Stellar is up as well too, 12% within the 7-day period. We do. Suchain has been moving too, but it's uncomfortably very, very close to $1.50, but I think it's going to get back over $2, which is great. I like that particular dev team. I love the platform. It's a very interesting blockchain as well. Litecoin, $82, and we do have AVAX at 14, which I think AVAX is a fabulous buy as well. HBAR, Shiba Inu has been pumping as well, but it has corrected very abruptly. That's going to round it up, guys. And we're flat going into the middle of the week. We did get some really, really good gains in the last 4 days, but all of that is retracting. You have a lot of profit taking that's going on within the altcoin sector, as well as Bitcoin. As we round it back up to Bitcoin, we talked about this within the last 4 hours. This beautiful trajectory coming out of the first week of January. We've hit a wall, so we'll see. We'll see what's going on. LMFG, we'll see. Now I want to flip to this DeFi TVL because you mentioned Monad. We'll get into that too as well, because this is where it's at. This is where all of the actual activity is, guys. The decentralized finance TVL is 133 billion and climbing. Some say we're going to get to $1 trillion. by 2027 Q4. We may get there quick, way quicker than that if we can get the language through. Now, as far as stablecoin activity, up almost 10%, 0.18 to be exact, actually, just below 1%, $308 billion LMFG. So we know where the money's going. There's a lot of people getting yield. There's a lot of people consolidating, generating yield. I think the max is 7.6. That's beautiful. That's more than you're getting at your bank. And then you have payment infrastructures that are moving as well. You have Visa that's using stablecoin activity. You have PayPal. People are using that PayPal stablecoin for payment. These things are not being reported, but this is what's happening. Decentralized exchange volume, my God, 13 billion within the last 24 hours. LMFG. This is where it's at, brother. This is where it's at. DeFi is alive and well, and this is why the banks want they want a big chunk of DeFi. And they want to squeeze us out because look at how much money has been made within the last 24 hours. When it comes to decentralized exchange volume, $13.94 billion. Crazy numbers, LMFG. So
yeah, it's crazy numbers, but it's so minute compared to what the banks move in the same amount of time.
Yeah, but it's centralized. It's centralized.
It's centralized. Well, that's just it. They don't want to lose that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's inevitable they're screwed. They got to cut over to blockchain, and then it's going to become semi-decentralized. It'll be half and half, or 3/4 and 1/4. They'll still hold on to some. There'll have to be some banking in there, but nothing like they are today. Not the conglomerates they are today. It all goes to the people.
Look at the gap, though. You're looking at the stablecoin. This is what makes it up. Stablecoin market cap, we talked about that. DEX volume, 13 bill. Perpetual volume, 38.7 bill. That's crazy. And that's the casino. That is the casino, right? So the fees generated are crazy for these particular platforms as well. This is why the perp, exchanges like Hyperliquid made tons of money. Unfathomable amounts, layers of cash, okay, in these arenas. It's documented. So you said that the banks move way more. Just think about this. They're well established. They're brick and mortar. They're regulated federally. They receive bailouts. DeFi does not receive bailouts. When DeFi goes under, there's nobody to bail DeFi out. Some would say Tether bails them, but that's not the case. This is the thing about decentralized finance. There's no bailout, right? It's very honest. It's a very honest system. Banks, centralized banks, the centralized holding, they get bailouts. They just got a $40 trillion bailout, LMFG, because there's so much underwater with the frivolous lending. So when you factor this 13.69 bill within a 24-hour period, this is an encapsulated form of decentralized finance. Now you untame this, you rip the actual capsule, you rip this infrastructure out of the capsule and you spread it out across the world with no boundaries. And you let it do what we know it could do. I think it goes from, and I'm talking within a 24-hour interval, I think it goes from 13 billion to over 10 trillion within a 24-hour period in an untamed situation, because it's pretty much encapsulated within the space right now. It's not readily available to the norm. It's not merged into real world banking activity, LMFG. So what we're seeing is a microcosm. What we're seeing is a very small, minute increment of what DeFi could really truly generate on a global, standpoint. And the banks know this is $10+ trillion every 24-hour type of thing, type of situation that they want their paws in. They want all of that money, brother. So we'll see. And like you said, the TVL is crazy. Just up under 200 billion. It's amazing what we're seeing here. And it's encapsulated. This is an encapsulated value right now within this space. You wait until they uncap DeFi. You wait until this is unleashed across the globe, because I believe it will be within the next 2 years. This is peanuts, LMFG. This is peanuts, brother. We're talking 10+ trillion and above when this thing is unleashed. Do you agree?
Yeah, 100%, man. It's coming. Just like I said, they're going to kick this can down the road as long as they can. We'll see what happens. I mean, we need some educated congressmen and senators that want to go up against the banks and do it.
Yeah, they got to have some balls.
Yeah,
they got to have some balls.
I didn't want to say that, so, but yeah, man, 100%.
Oh no, we'll say it. We'll definitely say. I love saying it. They got to have some nuts.
They gotta have the gonads, man, and they gotta do it because they'll probably wind up getting it. They're going to lose so much funding and this, that, and the other thing, and they may not even make the next election. Because they'll have the banks going against them. I don't know.
They're definitely going to lose their seat. That's for sure.
They got to be there for the people. They work for us, and that's not how it's been going. They've been working.
No, absolutely. They've been working for themselves.
Blockchain cryptography is going to change that, and that's what I figured within 40 to 60 hours reading 5 years ago.
Yeah, see. Yeah, no, absolutely, brother. This is the top 10. Well, let's just go top 14 when it comes to this DeFi TVL. This is what the banks want. All right, they want this so bad. Look at what makes it up. We're talking liquid restaking protocols like Binance Stake ETH, Lido, Ava. I'm sorry, we know Ava, 36.27 billion in total value locked. Massive APY. What is the average APY? Let me. I gotta go to this. What is this average APY on this? Oh, it's pretty low, but that's a pretty big situation. We're talking about ETH, so they're not going to be too high on the ETH. So predominantly, you're going to see a lot of ETH staking, a lot of ETH APY coming off of Ava. It's below 1%. I'm shocked. Are you shocked to see that, bro? I thought I was going to see at least 2%, but I totally get it.
Yeah, that's a bit low.
That's a bit low. So I definitely wouldn't waste time with that. Yeah, I'd rather go to my credit union. I can get more than that. But there's others like Maple. You're getting way more APY on Maple Finance. But this is what you see in the top 14. Lots of lending, borrowing, restaking, decentralized exchange activity. Predominantly is going to be Uniswap. But lending and borrowing, you see some RWA lending and borrowing as well, with Scrutinize and Tether Gold, which is going to be that commodity, which is Tether essentially. But it's a lot of RWAs, a lot of lending in those RWAs, and a lot of borrowing and lending and compounding when it comes to generating yield for your stablecoins and your synthetic tokens. This is essentially digital banking, unrestrained, unregulated, uncapped. This is what it is. And look it's phenomenal. It's up almost 3%. So I want to hand clap DeFi. I'm a big DeFi fan. And pretty much all these platforms that I just, mentioned, like Babylon, Morpho, Uniswap, Just Lend, Pendle, which Pendle, I think the market cap for Pendle is under 500 mil, right? These are tokens you can invest in, not financial advice. But these DeFi tokens and these perp exchange tokens, these blockchain coins that are going to be very, very intrinsic and very, very highly involved in payments, RWAs, and facilitating these particular activities, they're going to be very valuable going into the next 4 to 5 years. So just keep an eye on this. I think you should. Now, I want to roll into this before we get out of here because this is very disturbing breaking news here. And we talked about what's going on with Japan. And I want to end off with this. Bitcoin faces a liquidity drain, LMFG. Danger zone as Japan's 30-year yield breaks an historic record. Now, LMFG, we've been talking about Japan. We've been talking about what's going on. BOJ, a lot of that has moved out of the news cycle because I got to tell you guys, a lot of the governments across the world, they don't really want you to know what's going on in Japan. This is very bearish. The carry trade is done. It's on its way out. So they don't want you to even understand what that is and how it affects investorship, stock markets, trade, things of that nature. Get the sub headline. Now, with the BOJ letting rates run to levels not seen in decades, which are going to be going up 150 basis points within a 12-month period, LMFG, this is going to affect everything. The structural term premium is rising, a direct headwind for long duration cryptocurrency exposure. It's going to bring it down because this is how people invest at a discount. They use a carry trade. the actual foundation of the carry trade is Japan. They are about to raise their rates, and it's going to affect everything. It's going to kind of unstabilize that equilibrium. Now, the Tokyo bond trader have a new number burned into their screens this week, 3.5% LMFG. For most of the past 2 decades, that is 3 point. Can you imagine them? LMFG. We're talking going at 3.5. They were at negative rates for the past decade. LMFG. So this is going to be a very abrupt rise in that particular rate. Very quick. That's like throwing cold water into a skillet that has been sitting on the stove at high temperatures. You know what happens there, LMFG. A lot of instabilities within the metal. Instant evaporation of the water. This is, I'm not trying to be super bearish, and a lot of people are like, what are you talking about? This is going to affect cryptocurrency. This is going to affect stock market, the way people move money, the way people trade. You're going to see a lot of people running back to their old currencies, trying to get out of this situation before they lose all their value. LMFG, what do you think about this 3.5? This is the goal.
Right. Yeah. And we've been talking about this too. And like I said, Buffett sitting there buying the yen.
I don't get it. I don't understand.
What? I don't know.
He's a smart guy. What is he doing?
I don't know. He might know something we don't know that we don't see. I have no idea. Crazy.
Now, I hope he does. I hope he does. I wish he would share it with us because I think that was a very stupid move. I'm not moving anything into the yen. Not with these rates. Not with they want to go 3.5. Hell no. I'll take my chances with the dollar. Right? Holy shit. So
I think that this is going to pull so much money out of Japan, it's off the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. They're in panic mode right now.
So why do they keep raising it? That's what I'm not getting.
Well, they're trying to save the yen. This is what the leadership is saying in Japan. They're trying to save the yen.
And I think it's almost over. No, just about. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's
almost over. And who knows? Maybe this will do it, and it'll be a total turnaround. And that's what Buffett sees or is gambling on. I guess.
I don't know.
I'm not full enough there.
So you thinking he's doing the Buffett? This is how he's acquired his wealth. Risk, high risk. This is probably the highest risk move I've ever seen this guy partake in. And I don't know if it's going to go very well. He's, but he put a third, just over a third of his bank. I don't know. It was a lot. What, 350 million, I think, or billion? I don't know. It was a lot of money.
Billions. Yeah, I think it was in the billions.
Yeah, 350 billion. So, Jesus Christ. I don't know what he's doing. That is a huge hedge. That is a huge risk-taking move. When you see them going up 3.5, this is a goal. So, Subheadline says, Japan's rate hike ends the free money era and puts Bitcoin on notice. Not a lot of people are talking about this. So, let's get a little history on it. For the past 2 decades, Japan's long end was a place of the world. And this is where they went to forget about interest rates. Mind you guys, they've been negative for almost the last couple of decades. They're abruptly going up on the rates. Now, and a lot of people enjoyed those rates being low because it allowed them to invest at a discount and reap a lot of benefits. This was the mother of all arbitrage situations. Now, if you were a pension fund trying to match liabilities, a bank trying to park liquidity, or a global macro desk hunting cheap funding, Japan's actual government bonds were quite the corner of the room. They were very attractive. Now, the corner is getting loud. This is what he's saying. Japan's 30-year government bond yield has risen to roughly 3.5%, a level that would have sounded absurd in the years when Japan had near zero, and they went negative, actually. Now, they were essentially the same sentence as what we were saying earlier. I think last week when I was reading you guys an article about what was to come with this, I think a couple of weeks ago. We're seeing it right now. Now, a lot of people doubted the BOJ's hike. They said it was just rhetoric. It was just talk. Well, now we know they're very serious about it. This move, or the economic, the consensus shows that the move as a fresh step or a higher step is going to be a January concept after a year of steady pressures building and a long end opportunity. So this is just the start. 12 months is going to be the goal to move up 150 basis points. They may even go higher. So this is what it means to crypto. Japan is exiting an era that shaped the generation of markets, cheap funding, like I told you guys, abundant central bank liquidity. This is what it provided, in a sense that rates would stay pinned forever. So the main consensus was they were never going to raise their rates, ever. They were always going to remain zero. It's not the case. They just flipped off the entire world. Now, the Bank of Japan has moved its short-term policy rate up 0.75%. LMFG, we spoke of this before, with officials publicly signaling they can keep tightening QT if the economy and prices track their forecast, which they've already said that they're going to go up within the next 12 months. They have a plan, a trajectory that's very bearish. Now, Reuters actually reported that Governor Kazuo Udaya, I think it is, reiterated that the path was a go this week. And the BOJ itself lists that the next meeting for the actual rate hike, the additional rate hike, is going to be this month, the 22nd through the 23rd, which we were going to get another hike. So the Japan monetary base is a simple way to see how much they're actually going to go up. All right. It's to be determined. So we're going all the way through December with this LMFG. So who knows, man? It's not going to kill Bitcoin, but it's going to make it very, very, very expensive going forward, especially if they just continue to go up, possibly 200 basis points. It's going to cause a rift. It's going to destabilize trade for a bit. People are going to have to backtrack. It's going to cost a little bit more because they're not going to be getting this money. They're not going to be able to convert and take part in this arbitrage and take advantage of these lower rates of investorship. They're gonna have to do it like the normal folk. They're gonna have to swallow the actual fees. They're gonna have to do it at a more expensive rate. And I think this is gonna cause a reductive pattern. You're gonna see a pullback. I could be wrong. What's your take, bro? As we look at the stock market.
Yeah, and I was briefing through that with what Buffett did, and what he did is put a lot of money into the Japanese companies, and then with yen bonds.
Yeah,
you know, and then he's offsetting that with the dividends from the stocks. So I don't.
That's still very risky, bro, considering the fact of what they're doing.
Yeah, because if it doesn't go. If the stocks don't go, right, you know, granted, look what he's into, Mitsubishi and Itachi and Marubeni, you know.
Oh, my God. Oh, are you serious? This is what he did?
Yeah.
Oh, he's cooked. He's cooked.
This was the second, you know, dive deeper into AI mode. So I'll go by. And so 30 billion spread out into those companies.
Yeah, he's cooked. He's cooked. He's completely cooked.
These are big boys, though. Big companies.
Yeah.
You think that? Well, you know what? The stock market. Yeah. If the whole stock market crashes, then there you have it.
Well, see, you know, and he went through the 08 situation. He knows better, right? He knows better. Again, he's a risk taker. This is why he's a billionaire. Him and Charlie Munger, billionaires. This is what they do. Charlie was a little bit more smarter. I would think that Charlie Munger, you know, with the real estate, he did pretty good. I think his pathway was a whole lot smarter, but you know, look at Buffett made way more money because he took more risk, and he's doing it again. S&P 500 will end with this. It's up almost 1%, guys. Dow Jones up almost 1.5%. 500 points. LMFG 49,000. Nasdaq up 200 points. This is not a great barometer, guys. This stock market is so pumped up and it's got AI written all over it now. I love decentralized AI. There were some tokens I wanted to get into today. I don't have time. But when it comes to the decentralized approach, when it comes to the Mag 7, they're pumped. They are pumped full of air. Tesla is actually down 4%. AMD down 3%, almost 4%. Apple almost 2%. NVIDIA is barely up because of the new entrance of the new chip. It's not Blackwell. They introduced another chip that was specifically geared for AI. Pretty cool situation. So this is where we're going.
On the CES show.
Yeah, you saw that?
Yeah, pretty wild. And here comes Intel.
Yeah. Didn't Trump buy a considerable amount of Intel? It's in his portfolio. He damn near bought the whole company.
Yeah. And everybody was calling them that they were done. You know, I told you, my buddy, he pays for the advisors and all that. He's on the VIP list and all that. And they were all saying, get out of Intel, get out. And when it went down real low, I told my buddy, I says, you know, I think they can make it. What they're doing is just skipping the 0.4 chips, you know, the 4 nanometer chips and the 3 nanometers. And I think that's I forget the name, something Lake, is 1.8 nanometers. So that's pretty wild, you know, you know, I believe 1.4. But that's years down the road. And this 1.8, the problem is they're having a real hard time. That's why nobody else is doing it. You know, they think they're doing 4 nanometers right now, I think, and they're producing them well. And that's TSMC, I think. So interesting what's going to happen here.
Yeah, it is.
Better. So each wafer, they're only getting so many chips, and it's actually a losing proposition right now. I think they're just breaking even now. So another year or two, they'll have that down pat, and that's when everybody else is going to start working on that technology. So we'll see. And this is all for the robots, the AI shit, you know.
Yeah, I was looking at a 60-minute piece, and I think Boston Dynamics is this group, and they finally got this robot. It's not a general purpose, but they're working on introducing an AI endowed general purpose bot that you're going to be able to talk to and ask it and tell it, hey, this is what I need you to do. You know, fix this pipe, right? Cook some dinner, you know, wash the car. This is what they're working on. Now they got this one that's not even close to being a general purpose robot. I don't even know if I want to call it a robot, but Boston Dynamics has introduced this. They're putting this into these cars. Hyundai, I think, is the actual owner, because you can't trade Boston Dynamics. But the actual owner, which owns like 80% of Boston Dynamics, is Hyundai. And this robot was built specifically to be placed inside Hyundai's manufacturing plants. And I was checking this robot out, bro, and it's crazy. This robot was literally, it has learned how to work in these plants, essentially, through machine learning.
It's doing the actual assembly line work.
It's doing the actual assembly line work. I watched it. It's a 60-minute piece. Look it up. This robot was actually moving parts, placing them in the assembly line, working alongside of the other workers. And you could see the workers that were looking at this robot, and they were looking at it like, I can't believe this robot is working beside me. They look troubled.
They probably got cameras all over that thing. Like the workers are going to be pouring coke.
No, you can see it on their face. They're terrified. And the actual, you know, these programmers, they're like, this is what you're seeing now is not what we're seeing privately in our private testing facilities, because it can do more. But this is what we're comfortable with right now. And it was doing a lot. It was doing a lot, bro. And this thing was walking around, moving, you know, picking up things, and it can actually see its surroundings. It could see what it's doing. It's not like a simulation. It could see the parts. It could see the people, the humans next to it. It knows how close to get to things. All right. It has learned to work in manual labor, facilities. So the end game is to build not only a manufacturing, companion or assistant or worker, essentially, but a general purpose unit as well that you can buy for your home. Now, when that happens, when we get to that point, it's a wrap. Not only for white collar, but for blue collar as well. When you could tell a robot, hey, I need my, can you fix the gate? Can you mow the yard? Can you check the tires? Can you cook some breakfast or whatever? Vacuum the floor. That general purpose activity, when they achieve that, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
that's a wrap for any healthy humans. We're going to be fat, lazy slobs.
I'm not joking, bro.
Wait till you see the health crisis then, huh?
Yeah, I'm telling you. This is where we're going. So for those of you who think that these AI, companions, they're not going to be able to actually fix your plumbing, they're not going to be able to actually do general purpose, think again. They've already figured it out. Look up Boston Dynamics. It's crazy. Now, I don't know what Elon's working about.
They were one of the first over like 15 years ago. They came out with that, right?
Yeah, they came out with Spot. You remember Spot, the dog? The robotic dog? Yeah.
Yeah, and Hoskinson has a couple of them at his clinic.
Yeah.
These stuff around the clinic.
Yeah, they're OG. They've been working on this technology for a while, and they pretty much perfected it. This robot, I'm trying to look it up. I want to show you a little clip of it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Oh, it came right up. Interesting. So this, hopefully, here it is right here. It's crazy. It's crazy. Check this out.
Put the link up.
Okay, so this is Atlas. It's a humanoid robot. This robot is the same one that was in the Hyundai plant that they have deployed that was actually doing assembly work. Check it out.
And as you can see, its walk is pretty natural and pretty smooth.
I mean, it was walking around the actual Hyundai plant just like this with the rest of the workers. And they were just, picking up stuff, moving parts and shit, participating in the assembly process. Looking around at people, it was crazy to see this.
More to it than just copying nature. We can pick the best parts of what nature has to offer and do better in others. So as you can see, Atlas here has joints that can move 360 degrees. This lets Atlas move.
What do you think, LMOG?
Wow. Holy shit. My buddy worked for Ford for like 25, 30 years. I was over there and watched. And you see these guys on the lines, and what are you doing? Turning around, either grabbing nuts and bolts and then spinning, turning around. The way that thing turns around, and then the fingers go either way.
Okay, check it out. I found the 60 Minutes piece. Yeah, no, I didn't mean to cut you on, but I found that 60 Minutes piece. And this is that actual robot in the Hyundai factories. And mind you, they own 80% of Boston Dynamics. SoftBank, I think it's called SoftBank. They own the rest. So this will be 20% there. Check this out. Now this is the piece. You guys got to see the whole thing. This is when they deployed it in this assembly plant. Now look at this already. A lot of these assembly plants are already automated, right? They're already like 30 to 40% automated already, with a low level of human activity. They are about to totally, completely automate, fully manufacture.
There was 50 guys on the maintenance crew at the Ford plant. 50 guys. So now you're saying, all right, maybe you only need 10 and maybe not none. So you wind up with no maintenance crew. The maintenance crew will fix these robots because that's what the maintenance crew does today. Because they're all the conveyor belts. Just think about all those machines. They have to grease them. They have to maintain them. Otherwise, they fall apart.
No, absolutely. Check this out. This is crazy.
Sprawling auto plant is about as cutting edge as it gets. More than 1,000 robots work alongside almost. That's
and so you have to understand, AI is all embedded here. AI is so embedded. The actual machine learning, it's embedded. They actually have cameras that have been watching these guys work for the past 5 years and learning their movements. This is how this robot's been learning. He's been watching guys like this. They didn't even know they probably didn't even know they were being watched by this machine learning algorithm. The AI, the cameras are everywhere, and the ability for this system to just learn from guys like this, they're going to take over, and it's going to cost less to run this manufacturing plant, and that's the goal. And they're going to be able to run it 24/7 because robots do not get tired. They don't need breaks. They don't complain. It's crazy.
Hoisting, stamping, and welding in robotic unison. This may look like the factory of the future, but we found the future of the future in the parts warehouse, tucked away in the back corner getting ready for work.
It's so weird how it gets up off the ground. It looks crazy.
200-pound AI-powered humanoid created by Boston Dynamics. The rise of the robots is science fiction no more.
I have to say, every time I see it, you just can't believe what my
It's going to show
eyes
it
see.
moving around.
Is this the first time Atlas has been out of the lab?
This is the first time Atlas has been out of the lab doing real work.
Zach Jakowski
There's that term. Doing real work. It's crazy.
He heads Atlas development. He has 2 mechanical engineering degrees from MIT and a mission to turn
Check this out right here.
the robot into a productive worker on the factory floor. We watched as Atlas practiced sorting roof racks for the assembly line without human help.
Like I just said, my buddy, like they got to keep turning around and doing something, and then turn around, grab it, then turn around, and this thing's just standing there, just spinning.
Yeah. No breaks. He's not gonna go take a piss, right? He doesn't.
And probably a lot quicker.
Yes.
You got to move your feet, push to put it down, then turn around, move your feet.
Here's the thing. Zero liability. If this thing gets hit by a piece of metal, there's you see what I'm saying?
Maintenance robot. Call a maintenance robot to come
That's
over
it.
and fix it.
That's it. I mean, you don't have to cover this with insurance. There's no need for Blue Cross, Blue Shield. There's no need to even get insurance plans for your employees. When they're robots, this is crazy. This is where we're going.
Think about that. Holy light bulbs.
Absolutely. That's tons of money saved right there off the top. And this thing is doing this with these.
Probably in the billions every couple of years. They get sued.
Absolutely. Like I said, if this thing gets hit by a swinging metal or some catastrophic event happens, if there's a human there, there's liability there. With the AI, there's no liability. You just pick it up, you screw it up, you put another cap on it, slide a new battery in it, you're done.
No lawsuits. Goodbye to a lot of lawyers even.
Oh, this is where we're going. There's no turning back here. Look at this thing.
Autonomously.
Correct.
You're down here to see how Atlas works in the field.
Yep.
And you'll be showing Atlas off to your bosses at Hyundai?
Yeah.
You feel like a proud papa?
I feel like a nervous engineer.
It's crazy, man. They go into depth on, with it being involved with the assembly line, but it has been watching the workers this entire time. They didn't even know they were being watched. And this is how I learned how to work on this plant. So, I digress from that. But then that's AI tech, and you can actually invest in AI, not only in cryptocurrency, in our cryptocurrency space, because there's a plethora of AI, decentralized AI, machine learning platforms that have coins and tokens. And then within the stock market as well, with NVIDIA, all of these in that nature. But Bitcoin, we did get some buys, guys, before we get to the member giveaway, and we're gonna get out of it, guys. We're going long here, but I thought that was fascinating, where we're at and where we're going. And I think a lot of people who are in the blue collar, and they should be worried, because what I just showed you, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That robot does a whole lot more than just assembly work. So, and they're working on a general purpose machine learning right now. It's learning, and you'll be able to buy that, kind of like Optimus, and it'll be a home assistant to where you'll be able to tell it to assist you with things that we wouldn't think would come to fruition in 2026, 2027. Hell, it'd probably be able to invest as well for you, just by telling it what you want to invest in. I don't know. It's getting bonkers. It's getting a little crazy. So we did get some buys in. Bitcoin, $92. Not 92. Oh my God, I can't believe I said that. $92,000. We're getting back up to 93 LMFG. I think we're going to get back up to probably 93.5. I don't think we're going to get back to 94. I think that was going to be the ceiling for the rest of the month, I believe, because we just don't know what's going on in Congress with the language. There's a lot of things at stake here geopolitically. It's crazy. So just be looking for some volatility. Let's go ahead and get into our member giveaway. I'm going to make sure we got everybody on the wheel. Give me a sec, and then we'll spin this wheel and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, even XRP, I think it was like 235 or something did it hit?
Yeah.
And now it's back to 225.
Yeah, we got some major retraction. And yeah, I was seeing a lot of posts. Everybody was like, we're back. You know, Bitcoin to 100K. We got to be patient. We got to be very patient, guys. So I think we got everybody on the wheel. And let's go. And again, this is a member giveaway, guys. All you have to do is grab your membership. It's real cheap. You know, partake into the actual activities with the member videos, comment, and I'll get you on this wheel every Tuesday. And you can win some Solana like Jacob Anthony 7467. Hand clap to you, brother. You are the first winner. All I need is that Solana back. Hand clap to you. Again, all you have to do is become a member, and I drop videos every week. Interact with the videos. You know, tell me what you like about the content and what you're doing, because I always ask questions in the videos. So to stimulate, you know, engagement, so you can get on this wheel, right? And then we'll spin it every Tuesday for the members. This is exclusive for the members, and then we give out cash. We're giving out Solana right now. So Jacob Anthony is going to be the first winner. Let's get two more. What do you think, LMFG? I think Ruvashan. I think Ruvan. I think Ruvashai. I think it is. I don't know. Ruvan Shai. Let's go ahead and call it like that. You are the second winner, LMFG. How do you pronounce that, bro? Ruvan Shai. What do you think? I think it's Ruvan Shai.
Shai or she.
Yeah, that. You know, you're right. So Ruvashai. Whatever. I just hope I haven't, you know, offended, because a lot of people get offended when you don't pronounce their handles correctly. So Ruvashai, hopefully I nailed that. Hand clap to you. You're the second winner. Let's go ahead and get another one. I think I'm gonna call Alina. Steve Hawk is getting really close to winning this, though. He is right up on it. I think Alina's going to get it. Yep. So we have Alina is going to be that third winner. So let's go ahead and recap this. Situation. So we do have Jacob Anthony is going to be the first winner. Hand clap to you, brother. All I need is that soul address. Ruven Shai. Hopefully we pronounced that right. It's going to be number two. Number two right there. Jay, we're going to work on that 10K party, bro. Alina 654 is going to be the last winner. So hand clap to the member group. Benji, well, I appreciate you coming up, bro, and everybody as well. We'll catch you later, brother. And LMFG, what you take, bro? What's your lasting take? Oh, hold on. Let me show you something. I wanted to show you this. This is crazy. So we talked about this defiance when it comes to this particular sanctions that have been delved out when it comes to the Venezuela situation. Look at this. I gotta cut that music off. Now, these are the actual vessels that are being used to deter the actual movement of the oil tankers, right? This is what we have here out in the coast. The brigade. Now, this is what's really happening. This is reported this morning. 16 oil tankers from the BRICS nations, including Brazil, Russia, China, India, along with Mexico and other countries, are bypassing the U.S. blockade to load Venezuelan oil. This could trigger a new military standoff in the region. The next moves could reshape global power dynamics. So LMFG, again, this correlates. This is going to affect our stocks. This is going to affect the cryptocurrency space. We already see oil dipping really, really, really quick. You have all these countries that are basically flipping the middle finger at Trump right now, saying we don't care what you said. We're going to go get this oil. We're going to pay Bitcoin and Tether for it, and we're going to take it back to our countries. This is going to cause massive disruption and massive instabilities, not only in the Caribbean, because this is happening in our backyard, bro. What you take?
And I think that's a big reason why Trump wants to get all buddy-buddy with Venezuela, because that is a very strategic point to have a Navy base and all that there, you know. I don't know. They have a problem where if you're sending all those ships, from my understanding, I was doing some reading, and it takes them, they're very dilapidated on their oil production. Their equipment has been abandoned for a decade or so, and it takes them a few days just to fill one of the ships.
Yep.
So if you're sending 10 or 12 of these things, you're talking a month they would have to be sitting there trying to get filled up.
And you have to understand it takes a while. So it takes a while for these big tankers to move. So I think they were already en route prior to the escalation. So it's not like they're going to turn around.
It'll take a few days just for them to get there.
You see what I'm saying? So they're not going to turn around. And they're probably already paid for their oil. They've been using Bitcoin and Tether. So they're probably, that's an immediate settlement. Well, Bitcoin is going to take a while. But if you're using Tether, So this is a big issue for Trump. It's going to be a big issue. It's going to cause a lot of instabilities. They're basically saying, hell no, we're going to get it. We already paid for our oil. Stop us if you want to. You have the Colombian leader just completely going bonkers, just daring Trump to come get him. This is getting crazy. And again, the reason why I'm talking about this is because it's going to affect our space. Unfortunately, it's going to affect our space. So, and stocks too as well. So just be mindful. I need you guys to really pay close attention to these particular sectors: decentralized AI, RWAs as well, tokenization, these particular sectors in the actual platforms that are going to be embedded. Watch those tokens, as well as DePIN, because those three sectors are going to go to the moon. Now, financial advice, do your research and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right. LMFG, you good, bro?
Yeah, man. Rock and roll. Everybody take care. Be safe.
All right, man. We'll catch you guys later on the next show.